I've coached more sales coaches than what you could possibly imagine. In this video, I actually have someone who comes to me specifically so they can become better at coaching sales. And so what I do in this video is I teach him what to do, what not to do, how to give feedback, how not to give feedback, and then sort of how to diagnose and actually give pieces of feedback that are applicable and nuanced enough that the person can walk away, be able to make a tangible increase in their sales. So if you're interested in doing this for yourself and you want to actually be able to coach yourself, then stay all the way through to the end and watch the video, because things that I teach you to do are not really taught. And so I hope you enjoy this and get something out of it.
First of all, I love the fact that you came to me about this, because I think this is a lost art. Okay? In the whole fucking sales community, and there are guys that know what they're doing, but they're not good coaches, right? Like a classic example is like someone that I used to work with who was a pretty talented sales rep, but like when you try and use his process, right? You know what I mean? It's impossible to replicate. You know what I mean? It's like just a wild abstract thing. You look at someone like Jeremy, who's very, very good and a good coach, but he's been so good for so long that I think he actually dumbing it down, you know what I mean, is actually a little bit more difficult. A lot of coaches as well will coach from a state of arrogance, and that's a real thing that you want to avoid. When I coach, I try to really explain, or I try to really understand the circumstances that the person's in and all of the context, and I have to be willing to do a few things. One is I have to be willing to say, I don't know, because there's nothing wrong with that. And I have to be willing to just kind of stay in the saddle and see if there's an actual problem to solve, and try and pivot people away from solving sort of unique individual problems, and try and take them towards patterns. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'll give you a good example. So, and the other thing that you really want to get good at is you want to get good at only giving one piece of feedback, even though you see 10. Like you're a gifted salesperson, right? For your age, you are phenomenal. You know what I mean? And so you want to listen for the one worst thing that they're doing. And it's the thing that's going to cause them the most amount of drama. And I think that's where I have a unique ability to coach people, and it's because I will always say the thing. If someone's got a ridiculous accent, or they just sound retarded on a phone call, I had a guy, and I said this very specifically to him, and I said, hey man, I'm going to say something to you. It's going to shock you. There's 100 people on this call. And I was like, it's going to shock you. I was like, but I'm doing it for a reason. When you talk on a sales call, you sound like a gay Michael Jackson. Again, I'm using hyperbole to have it stick in his head. So it's very intentional. My crazy words that I say to people is on purpose, because if I say you sound like a little pussy, instead of going, oh, you sound like that, then it will stick in their head, and then they will dilute your message. So I have to go over the top with my coaching. Right, so I have to take it to the extreme, and then sort of teach them through that. And so look for the one thing, because there are a lot of things in sales that cause so many flow-on effects that the amount of variables that they're encountering is due to the fact that there's this one huge glaring issue, and none of the other problems we can honestly say, is that because of the thing that they're when I get an objection or someone does this that, but the beginning of the call, they just sound fucking ridiculous, you know? Yeah. And so it's okay, cool. Well, if I was going to give you one piece of feedback that you're going to go away and implement for the week, because I have to know it worked. So if I give you 3 pieces of feedback, I get you to do each one, you implement all of them, and you get a positive result. I don't know if 2 of them were negative and 1 of them was really positive. So I just give 1 piece of feedback. And they're going to ask you for more, and you have to say, no, I'm the coach. I'm telling you to fix this one thing. And it's because once you fix that, it may actually change all of the rest of it. So if we go and fix something here and something over here, it doesn't make any sense, right? And so that, I think, is the hardest thing. And that's there's a great book called The Hard Thing About Hard Things, and it teaches the cliff notes are that the most difficult thing about doing difficult things is that when you can see like 10 things that are wrong and only actually attacking one, right? Now, the coaching question is, how do I filter to figure out the one? The easy solution is go towards the top of the call, right? So fix things at the beginning. It's a lot easier. Like, generally speaking, my hierarchy of coaching is the last thing I'll change is a script, right? Do you know why?
I assume because like it's like about the implementation of the script.
Yeah. So
They're doing
that's
it.
one big one. One, it's obviously like it's a huge shift away. So like if I come into a sales team and they're closing at 10% and things are bad, right? Like a lot of people will come in and go, okay, new script, we'll teach them this, teach them this. I never do it that way. I like will do everything outside of even speak to the sales team first. Because like what I want to do is go, okay, let me have a look at all the show sequences, the emails, the texts. Let me have a look at the funnels. Let me have a look if there's anything broken. Let me find the shit that is really dumb and then fix that first. Because like that might just get me an uptick without having to talk to anyone. You know what I mean? And then like that also for me, when I come into a team, it solidifies me as good. I'm like, hey, I fixed these things. Everyone's show rate's higher? Sweet. You're welcome. Right? They're like, oh, fuck, this guy's not after our jobs or whatever, right? Then the next thing is like, okay, I'll sort of go a hierarchy. I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna work through, if I've got like the openers, right? Then I've got like the main body, and then I've got the pitch, and then I've got objection handling. A lot of people tend to work on objection handling, which I think is a mistake because they have to get through a lot of it and they have to want it for objection handling to work. I think people don't realize that you can't turn a no into a yes. You turn a maybe into a yes, and you want to confirm the yeses, right? So we want to kind of go through it that way. You have a question?
No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, sweet. And so I'll usually err towards like, okay, well, let's work on just that initial phase. The reason being is because a lot of people's sales are sort of done the wrong way. Though it ends up being kind of like a triangle going that way, and then it comes down. So they start off with a really specific opening frame, and it's like, hey, you're on the call here today because of this reasons, and the point of the call is this, and the next steps will be this, right? So it's real specific. However, then what they do is they start going like, so what drew your attention? And then what they do is they go, like with sales training, for example. So what I'm teaching the guys at the moment in Impact is like, hey, I don't want you talking about their sales process. I want you talking about what the processes they're using to get better. Because we sell things to get better. We don't sell their sales process. Like, I don't care about that because it won't change the prescription. You're going to cut 20 minutes off the call straight away.
Yeah.
Right? And so if I can so a lot of people go like hyper specific and then it vagues out because they talk about interesting yet unproductive things. So productivity drives the sale forward, and it's things that will affect or impact or be relevant to the pitch, right? Like if I'm thinking productive, I'm thinking pitch. Whereas like if I'm selling you sales training, is if you do straight line or NEPQ or fucking whatever, Zig Ziglar, is that actually relevant to my pitch? Absolutely not. Is it interesting and seemingly related? Yes. However, what it does is it leads to a rabbit hole, and like they can be difficult to get out of. Yeah. So like that is how most, and they go out, and then what they have to do is kind of try and squeeze them back in towards like problem, solution, rationale, stuff like that. My sales is totally different. I like to start wide. It's much harder, so I don't teach like beginners that way. I'll teach them to then like do both of the things, like set the frame, and then then ask the question. The situation question should be about what they're doing to achieve the goal, not what the status quo is. And I think that's actually a big separation between me and like traditional NEPQ. Situation questions are like to address the status quo. I don't even want to talk about the status quo. I want to talk about like what they've been doing to move forward. And the reason why I do that is because my next question, instead of like, do you like it, would be like, well, what shifted recently to where you actually want to start doing something different to start getting the outcome of X? And then what that does, it just goes shunk like that, right? So now the parameter of acceptable conversation is super short. right?
Yeah.
So if I can change something really small like that at the beginning, what I do for a team is tremendously reduce variables. Now I can coach them, right? Because without that, I'm having to teach them all these deflections and like how to bring people back in, when in reality, like that's quite a difficult skill set, and some people like will take a long time to do that. But if I can teach them how to never encounter that, or how to rarely encounter that, by teaching them how to go like pa-pang really, really quickly, then it's actually a very predictable chat.
Yeah. It makes sense.
So I really focus on that, and I spend a lot of time in like the first 2 to 3 minutes of the call, making sure that their tonality is very similar. You know what I mean? Making sure that they have their key questions. Your key questions you ask the same way every time, knowing what that will induce. And that consistency is what breeds coachability. Because if you're saying things in different ways every time, my coaching is actually like trying to coach you when you're shooting based on wind gusts. It's like it doesn't mean anything. You
Makes
know?
sense. It's so specific.
Yeah, it will also like I'm removing variables. Like if I'm going to teach someone how to be good at shooting, I have to put them in like an indoor range at a set distance, because I need to teach their body how to be good. Then I've got to teach their mind how to read the situation. Then I can bring them in harder situations, right? So it's very systematic, but I need to reduce variables. So when you're coaching people,
Just to make sure I'm understanding that, because like obviously when I was selling, if somebody like sales training, if they told me like, I need to work on my objection handling, whatever, then it was like, well, what are you doing to get better at your objection handling? Versus if they're like, oh, I need to get better at like resistance or scripting, and then I would target that. But you're saying like when teaching the beginners, make it a generalized thing of like, what are you doing to get better at sales, I guess?
well, no, so you can do what you're doing, but a lot of people like will go, let's say I'm selling like digital marketing services. They'll go like, okay, so like what are you doing for like walk me through your current marketing. Walk me through your current marketing structure. Right? Like that's most common, is they'll go through that because they feel like it's relevant. What you did is perfect. Right? Because like I taught Yash to do that. Most of the other guys that we're used to sell don't do that. I don't know if you know that, but they'll go like, oh, what's your sales process now? Okay, well, do you like it? What do you like about it? Do you know what I mean? Okay, if there's one thing you could change about your sales process, like what would it be? And it's like the fucking long way. And I was always dead set against it. I was like, no, just do this. Like, just say, okay, what are you doing to get better at sales? Well, I'm looking at YouTube. Okay, but besides the free stuff, like, what have you actually tangibly been doing on a day-to-day to get better so you can get the outcome of, like, higher commissions? Oh, well, not much. Okay, well, what shifted recently to where you really want to start getting into this? See, now I'm at Rationale, like, immediately. Like, I'm a minute and a half in, and I'm fucking, blah, I'm through, because I know that for me, the selling is in solution and consequence.
Of course, emotional. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then after you go, what's shifted? Then I'm assuming obviously you go into the probing. How long impact, if it makes sense?
Yeah. So So, but impact, I kind of stay away for beginners, right? Because it's harder. It's harder to pull off, So you've got the best way, like how I sell is like, oh, hey, how can I help? That's how I open calls. I do not teach beginners to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't, because like what's good for me is not good for you. Right? And so, so I'll role play different ways with like beginners. And I also ask when I coach someone, how long have you been doing this? Are you new to the offer? Like, are you new to the script? How long have you been in sales? Like, what's your sales history? Okay, cool. Would you consider yourself like skilled? Have you memorized the script? No. Okay, well, mate, like, I'm sorry, but the coaching I give you is going to be not massively productive, right? And that's where like not coaching from a stance of ego becomes a really important part, because you go like, okay, give me the information. I go, mate, like with where you're at right now, the only information I can give you is like, I need you to memorize the script, because not memorizing the script means a bunch of things. One, it means that you're thinking about what you're saying. If you're thinking about what you're going to say, what are you not doing? Listening to the prospect, right? Exactly. And then kind of going through that and going like, all right, cool. And being really, really like, people will then go, oh yeah, but what about what I say when this happens? And I go, no, no, we're not going to have that conversation, because if I tell you that, what happens is then you come to me for these eggshell edge case use cases that you might be inducing because you're not listening to them in the first place. What I'm going to try and teach you is a way of selling and a way of developing yourself that is systematic and patient, because if you want to be good, you need time. Right? And so it's like, I'm going to be like, I really, really believe that. And so I coach everyone the same way. And it's like, okay, like break it down, what's working. I'm going to focus more on the openers than anything else. And then I will also like refine their pitch. You know what I mean? Because like, so I'll go openers, then pitch, usually, because like most people have really bad pitches. Right? And like a bad pitch will ruin a deal. A good pitch will not make it, but it will certainly help. Right?
Yeah.
Now, the elements that I consider to be in a good presentation are like, I think NEPQ nailed this, where it's like no more than about 10% of the overall time that the sale has made. So if you're on an hour-long call, about 6 minutes, right? I like to have a pillar structure. I think it's really simple. And like I like to have it break down where it uses a lot of their words. Okay. And like when I sell, I will put those words, I will get them to use the word to then like, you know, so I'll be like, it's not your fault, but it is your problem. And then when I say it the next time, I go, it's not your fault, but it is your, and they go, problem. I go, exactly. Right. And then like, you know, one of the
That's the hook anchor, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? So then one of the pillars will have that, and I go, the reason why we do this is because not knowing this is not your fault, but it is what? And they go, it is my problem. I go, exactly. So we're going to remove that from you. We're going to take on the responsibility, and we're going to do, you know what I mean? So I do it that way. So I like to be nice and short and sharp. So it's like pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 2, pillar 4. And then what I'll do is I'll send you over my scripting document, because the pillars should be written like with the client avatar and like the problems that you solve, and like bundled together into like emotionally relevant terms.
Yeah. The way I've been, because I think a lot of it, I was lucky enough that it got passed down to Yosh and then to me.
Yeah, for sure.
That stuff is relevant. The structure I've been teaching the pillars is like, yeah, like the first part we do is X, because you know, you mentioned blah, 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 it's causing blah, blah, blah. So what we do is, and then some kind of relevant based on whatever pillar it is. And obviously,
yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly how I do it as well. There is a more complex structure called like a floating pillar structure, which haven't taught many people. I don't even taught Yash actually, where you have like 8 pillars, but you only present 4 of them, but you have 8 available to you, and then like you substitute in the most relevant 4 for the person. Right? Like it's complex, but like it's a good way of doing it if you're doing like a lot of like higher ticket pitches, like 30, 40, 50 grand. You know what I mean? Where you kind of have the time and you can set it up like that. Yeah. And so, but yeah, so doing it that way, and then getting them to really confidently like make sure that it sort of solves the problems that the person is in, and then just making it structured the right way, and then having them go, okay, cool. And then it's that final line that I like is like, okay, cool. So in order for us to be able to allocate the resources to you so that we can do boom, 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 and put you in the best position to be able to achieve X, the funding required is this. How do you want to proceed? Yeah. So I like just wrapping it up in a nice little bow and doing it that way. Yeah. So I feel like if you can get the pitch to where like that pitch is solid and they know it, and it's like, okay, cool, that's not going to fuck anything up, and then make the opener really good, that's like the lowest hanging fruit for most people. You just get those because it shortens the call, because like long calls will cause think about it objections. You know, just because of like decision fatigue that people get. Like me and you talk professionally for a living. The average 9 to 5 the average person doesn't, right? So like they get cooked after like a 20-minute chat. You know, like it's true, but like, as we talk a lot, it's true. You know, so, and they start data dumping stuff. So around that 40-minute mark, like you're pretty fucked. I try and get everyone to start pitching at minute 25. And that's probably, That's probably
one question I have on that, like an issue I've kind of had is, especially in the VIP calls, because there's so many people, is the balance between, I've always been intentional about getting context of like how much experience they have and everything else. The code is definitely based on it. And obviously like, do they know the script, all the basic stuff. But I don't know how deep to go into like their situation before answering the question or doing the role play or whatever it is, based on the fact that would obviously take away from my ability to like speak to somebody else as well.
Yeah, so I actually like, I hear what you're saying, and I used to be the same way, but I go deep to where I understand it. I just keep going until I get it. And then I'm like, okay, I get it. And then what I'll try and do is I'll try and make their specific problem a more ubiquitous issue that covers most people. Okay, so what you're saying is this, but what your actual problem is this, like you are not driving enough urgency. Like I'm getting thinking about it, like, okay, sweet. So that's not driving urgency. That's where that comes from. Right? So it's like, okay, so like this is a problem that's like we can address it in objection handling, but I feel like it would be better to address it further up the stream because like let's just have you not get that as much. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, cool. Like everybody learning note, someone should say they need it, they want it now 3 times before you pitch them. Right? Like, is everyone here doing that? No. Okay, cool. Everyone pull up your scripts. We're going to add that in. We're going to add in like here you go, okay, you do this now or later? You sure? Okay, cool. You know what I mean? So is this something that's important to you? Yes. Like, is this something that you want to kind of get in place now or do you want to kind of push off to next year? No? Okay, so why is that important to you now though? All right, perfect. So even if I get it 2 times, like that will immediately drive urgency. You know what I mean? And help me prevent those types of objections. So I try and kind of lift it up to everybody. Do you know what I mean?
That makes sense. So less people, but then apply it to everybody that way. It's like an actual coaching session everybody can take away from.
Yeah, exactly. And then what I'll do is I'll ask for feedback from the audience. Like, okay, well, what do you heard that role play? What do you hear? Because I want to make sure they don't turn off. Also,
That makes sense.
Be fine with telling people once you get your answer, leave. Right? Like, you're in this program to make money. Yes? Okay, cool. You know what you shouldn't be doing? Just watching me for an hour when you can be going calling leads. You know? And like, if you were in a sales training program, you would come on, ask your question, get it answered, and fucking bounce out. Because that's exactly what I would do. And that's everyone at Inner Circle who was like extremely successful. That's exactly what they did. You see them 4 times.
Even with the best impact clients, that's exactly what they do.
That's what they do. It's like, guys, you're here to make money. I tell the guys like committed and all this kind of stuff. I was like, do not fucking stick around, listen to me talk shit for an hour. I know I say funny things and I make fun of everybody and myself and like it's a good time. I try and make it fun, right? Because like we're coaching, but we're also like entertaining. Like it's supposed to be a good time until you get them to come back, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, guys, don't just stick around here. Like get your answer and fuck off because like go make sales. Go use it, utilize it, or sit down and study. Like, do your thing, you know? And I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I think, like, you're their coach, so you tell them what to do. You know, it's like, hey, you want to be your fucking coach or your best friend? All right, cool. As your coach, I'm telling you to get the fuck off the call and go make some calls because you have your answer, dude. Like, you don't need to stick around just because you fucking like hearing the answers. You know?
Yeah. Do you keep, because I think what I'm good at is on the calls, I can keep them very engaged with like humor and like making jokes and like poking fun at people or whatever.
Yeah.
It's easy to me. But what other ways, I guess, do you have to engage people? Kind of like you said, like asking other people's feedback, like on the role play, et cetera. Like what other ways do you do that, like more professionally, I guess?
For sure. So I'll actually send you some documents because like I've created, I think, a lot of quite unique role play mechanisms. Like role play by itself is useful, but it can also be a little bit like meh. So I like doing role play with specific intent, right? So a lot of people, I like to do role play where you have like 10 minutes to do the entire script, but you can't skip anything and you can't talk really fast. So what that does is it teaches people to be in like, if you role play and you can do that, then like the real sales call is slow motion. It's easy, right? So I'll teach that, but then what I'll do is I'll be like, hey, if you're here, your camera's on, you're listening because I will switch to you as the rep at any stage. I'll go, pause, Andres, you're in. Right? And you have to pick that shit up. And if you don't, I'm going to make fun of you. Right? So it's like you have to be switched on because the whole point of a role play is for you to, can you figure out what the thought process is? And I'll pause and I'll go, Andres, so tell me, summarize the prospect for me. And I'll go, sweet. It's like, dude, if you can't do it while you're watching, then you can't do it while you're selling. Right? Like this is a skill set. Like you have to be able to watch, listen, summarize, retain, understand what's happening. Otherwise you're fucked. And so like there's speed role plays are really good for like getting people to see that they get way too much information and they're just like, they're just blowing things out for no reason because you can go, okay, and then I'll do an example. I'll go, okay, cool. Put the timer on. I'll finish the whole thing in 7 minutes. And I'm like, is there anything that I didn't get that I need to make a sale? They're like, no. I was like, sweet. So like, I have the information, right? In 7 minutes, you guys are taking 90.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? Right? So let's go. Let's do it. That's a really good one. Another one is when you role play selling something you've never sold, completely out of industry. That's a really good
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
That's a really good one. The when I use that is because people, you need to rely on pure script and sales. There's no product knowledge, there's no industry knowledge or nothing. And it makes you think about, if you don't think about for a minute the problem that that product solves, you're fucked. And most of the reps don't even know the problem that their thing solves. They go, oh, we get more leads. I was like, okay, and what's the outcome of more leads, dude? Well, I guess more sales calls. And what's the outcome of more sales calls? More money. And who benefits getting more money? These people. And what are they going to do with more money? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, exactly, because that's the fucking problem that you solve, dude. Like, they're going to free them up from, like, being in scaling jail. Or you're going to, yada, 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 right? So that really helps.
You know what I think would be so, I just thought about this. Because one thing I noticed is with Plaid or even the VIP calls, people after a while of doing the same role play calls and Q&A calls and everything, they kind of disengage after a while. I think if we added a call a week or something that was like speed role plays, like switching industries, I think that'd be, because that helped me a lot when I was at.
I can run them for a while. Like, that's fine. It'd be good content as well. But like, we can do that. There's a bunch of different ones. There's like the most beneficial one and the hardest one is say it again. Say it again is very difficult, which is where I'll go say it again, and you have to say the question you just asked, but you can't use the same words. So it's like, is that having an impact on you? Say it again. Is that affecting you in any way? Say it again. So like, what's that doing to you and your business? Say it again. So you're learning conversational flexibility. It's really fucking hard. Like, I'm good at it because I've done it a lot, but you get people and you go, say it again. And they'll just say like, is that having an impact on you? Say it again. Is there an impact having you on? Like, they're just retarded.
Yeah. I did that with Yosh. We go back and forth on different mirror questions and stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah. Those drills, man, like when I was running Sniper when the team was fucking savage, we did that shit all the time, and the role plays were so difficult. So it's like, hey, we're going to role play and you're going to be a miserable fucking prospect. We're going to role play and you're not going to stop talking. We're going to role play and you're someone who will not give information, right? So we're going to role play and you're someone who's so dug in on getting you to pitch early, it's not even funny, right? So you learn it was really hard sales training, and it should really challenge people, and they should walk away going, fuck, I need to get better.
That makes sense. One more question, because I've always been trying to pinpoint the, like, how do I say this, the balance between being a great, because I think sometimes being able to keep people's attention or say stuff that engages them a lot and makes them like buy in a lot more into impact, into mission, etc., isn't necessarily the same as being the best coach. So like maybe like giving like 2 pieces of feedback and one of them sounds like shiny or something. Like that'll make them engage more and kind of obsess more to a degree, but it's maybe not the best thing that you do from a coaching perspective. What's the balance between the two in your mind, especially for like impact, obviously?
I mean, for me, dude, I just go with like my entire goal is to make you better at sales. And like, if you can't see that, then I'm probably just not the right coach for you. Like, if you want me to like say pretty things, or sometimes I'll just give them 2 pieces of advice. I go, listen, these are my 2 pieces of advice. Like, this is the one that I think benefits you in the long term, and this is the one I think benefits you, like, potentially in the short term, but might hinder you in the long term. Like, I can give you both if you'd like. You know what I mean? Like, the flashy response is this, but for you, I think the real response is this. And I actually think the authenticity of that, like, I have great retention throughout all of my sales calls, you know what I mean? Like, all of my coaching calls. And I think like the authenticity of like really trying to understand, and I verbalize my process. Okay, so I'm thinking of this. I'm trying to figure out how you get from here to here. Like, what is the actual problem that you solve? Like, break it down for me. What are your avatars? Who you got? And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get their juices flowing. It's like, guys, I want you thinking about this for your offer. Get a piece of paper out. Write it down. Understand this stuff, because I need to understand it to coach you. So you should probably understand it to fucking do it, right?
Yeah, it's just
like,
it makes sense.
Fair, you know?
Yeah.
And I just think like for me, it's like they put a lot. It's like a lot of responsibility, and I don't want to fuck it up. You know, I want to make sure that like I'm doing what I think is best, and I'm doing it in a way that is like that. I think that they'll retain it. You know, because a great teacher taught me once, and he was like, he said some like He said it was a personal training guy called Charles Pollock, and he was like, "Oh, don't eat carbs." And I went to him and I was like, "Charles, why are you telling everyone not to eat carbs?" He's like, "Oh, like you're not dumb." And I was like, "I appreciate that." And he goes, "But everyone else here is, you know." And he goes, like, when they get home, they're gonna distill it down to like, don't eat bread. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's a very, and he was an excellent coach. And I was like, that there's something in that. You know, you go a bit verbose and over the top, it sticks in their head, it dilutes down by the time they implement. So you kind of need to like take it to that extreme.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because what I noticed is like with obviously all the people, like most of the people in Impact coming in through my content are much younger. And so like I need to coach them in a way that like tickles them in a sense where they're like mentally stimulated, but it also gets them the result at the same time. So that was like,
all right, dude, catch you, brother.
That was really helpful.
No worries, dude. Bye.